We like to think the human body is well designed, but look closer. We can't eat and breathe at the same time. Our brain barely fits through our own skeleton. Our entire body runs through one fragile cable, and our stress system still thinks emails are predators. These aren't accidents, they're compromises. This is why humans are badly designed. Shared air and food tube. The human mouth is basically the junction where food, water, and air all try to merge into the same lane. That lane is called the pharynx, and evolution, in its infinite wisdom, decided it would be perfectly fine to have both your dinner and your breathing go through it. What could possibly go wrong? When you swallow, your body has to pull off a perfectly timed routine. The soft palate closes off your nose so food doesn't shoot out of it. And this little flap called the epiglottis folds down to cover the airway. The top of your esophagus then relaxes just long enough for food to slide down. That entire process takes about 1 second. If even one part of that timing slips, you're choking. The food gets into the wrong pipe and your body launches a violent coughing fit to eject it before it hits the lungs. Miss that reflex and it becomes aspiration pneumonia. Now, babies actually start off with a safer design. Their larynx sits higher in the throat, so the epiglottis almost touches the soft palate, meaning they can drink milk and breathe at the same time without choking. But when we grow up, that larynx drops lower, opening the vocal tract so we can speak clearly. Evolution traded choking hazards for vowel pronunciation. After the world doomsday, aliens came to rescue species.
Next species. We're testing if you can eat and breathe at the same time. We've had incidents during mealtime in zero gravity.
Easy, I can eat and breathe 24/7.
Efficient, board the ship.
Same here, peck, breathe, repeat.
Excellent.
So, I can't do both.
Can't what?
Eat and breathe, one at a time or I die.
You're kidding.
Nope, but I can say pneumoultramicroscopic silicof ulconoconiosis.
What does that mean?
Who knows, but it sounds cool. He's not gonna make it past lunch. At least he'll make a video I chalked for 8 seconds, but here's what I learned.
Human approved. At least he will blow up.
Other animals don't have this issue. Most mammals have the breathing and eating paths separate enough to multitask safely, but humans decided speech was worth the risk. The shared tube has to be soft and flexible enough to shape words. That's how you get smooth vowel sounds, but also tough enough to shove an entire grape down the same corridor. And it doesn't always go well. Sometimes stomach acid decides to take a field trip back up the esophagus, and that's acid reflux. And when it reaches your throat, it basically sandblasts your vocal cords. You wake up sounding like you've been yelling at a rock concert all night. Then there's sleep apnea, which reminds you that your throat walls are made of meat, not steel. When you fall asleep, the muscles holding that soft tube open and relax just a little too much, and suddenly your airway folds in on itself. The soft palate sags, the tongue slides back, and the pharyngeal walls lose tension. Your brain panics, and you jolt awake gasping. Then you do it again and again, all night. So why not just evolve 2 separate tubes, one for breathing, one for eating? Well, it's because vertebrates never started with that layout in the first place. The mouth evolved as a general-purpose intake hole, first for filter feeding, later for chewing, tasting, and talking. Once speech became a survival advantage, natural selection said, close enough, and left the rest to reflexes and emergency Heimlich maneuvers. Spinal cord failure. Your entire body's movement system runs through a single thumb-sized cord dangling inside your spine. One fragile biological cable called the spinal cord handles everything. Every sensation you feel, every muscle you move, it all passes through that one line. And evolution, in its infinite generosity, decided to route this vital organ through a long stack of bones. Let's start at the top. Your brain doesn't actually connect to the rest of your body through some heavy-duty port. Instead, it sort of leaks out through a small hole at the base of your skull called the foramen magnum, Latin for big hole, though frankly it's not that big. Through this narrow opening squeezes the spinal cord, a delicate cable of neurons and supporting cells, barely thicker than your little finger. It then runs down a tunnel inside your vertebral column, protected, theoretically, by bone. This cord is your biological highway. Millions of nerve fibers carrying two-way traffic. Signals going down tell muscles what to do. Lift the arm, blink the eyes, run from the bear. Signals going up bring back sensory data, touch, pain, heat, balance. The problem is there's no backup route. Cut or crush even a few millimeters of that cord, and the entire highway below that point goes dark. Damage high up in the neck? You lose control over almost everything below it. That's quadriplegia. damage lower down, say near the waist. You might still move your arms, but legs and bladder control are gone. The reason it's such a mess goes back to our fishy ancestors. The spinal cord's basically a biological elevator cable, one fragile line holding up everything below your head. Good day for the elevator inspection. Welcome to the most advanced vertical transport system in human history. Fluid shock absorb, triple layer insulation. Nothing can... Engage backups! Engage! 500 million years later, and you still hang off my spine. Oh no. Oops, guess that's why they call me cold-blooded. Something smells fishy in here. The human spine is basically a verticalized version of the same structure used by fish for side-to-side swimming. Those little bony segments, vertebrae, originally evolved to protect nerves that ran horizontally through their backs. When we decided to stand upright, evolution didn't redesign anything. It just tilted the whole structure 90 degrees. The result is a bony tower with a soft noodle running through it, and every time you fall off your skateboard, that noodle plays roulette. Even the protection isn't perfect. Between each vertebrae sits a disc, soft cartilage pads meant to cushion the bones. But if one of these discs slips or bulges, it can squeeze the spinal cord or the spinal nerves branching out from it. That's how you get the sciatica, or nerve compression pain. Your brain and spinal cord are so fragile that they float in cerebrospinal fluid, a liquid shock absorber. But one bad fall, or one unlucky vertebra fracture, and that jelly cushioning might as well be bubble wrap against a sledgehammer. We still can't repair spinal cord injuries properly. The central nervous system doesn't regenerate easily. Scientists are experimenting with stem cells, growth factors, and neural scaffolds, but for now, your spinal cord remains the ultimate single point of failure. Break it once, and your body's electrical grid goes permanently offline below the damage. Birth canal versus baby head. Somewhere along evolution's timeline, nature thought, hey, let's make kids' heads bigger and their hips smaller. What's the worst that could happen? Spoiler, every human birth ever since. See, millions of years ago, our ancestors walked on all fours. Their pelvis was long and roomy, great for easy baby delivery. But then we decided walking upright was the new hot trend. To balance on two legs, the pelvis had to rotate and shrink. The result? The pelvic inlet, the circular-ish opening at the top, got narrower front to back. And the pelvic outlet, the bottom part, got narrower side to side. The baby's head, meanwhile, didn't get the memo. Evolution kept growing it to fit a brain the size of a small melon. This created what scientists affectionately call the obstetric dilemma. Basically, how do you squeeze a bowling ball through a donut hole without breaking either? The solution nature came up with is gymnastics. When a baby is born, it doesn't just slide straight out. It does a full rotation routine. The baby's head goes in sideways to fit through the inlet, twists while descending, then turns again so the shoulders can make it through the outlet. In any other mammal, birth is a casual affair. Baby slides out, mom licks it clean, done in 10 minutes. In humans, it's a high-stakes puzzle where every centimeter counts. And the baby's skull isn't even fully fused yet. Those soft spots on a newborn's head, the fontanelles, exist because the skull bones need to squish and overlap during delivery. It's called molding, and it's the only reason the baby doesn't get stuck permanently halfway out. So next time you see a newborn with a cone-shaped head, that's just their victory trophy for surviving the world's most poorly designed door frame. There's also a reason human babies are born so helpless. If they stayed inside long enough to develop brains properly, their heads would get too big to fit through the pelvis at all. So evolution compromised again. Babies come out early before they're really finished. That's why a newborn can't even hold its own head up. It's still under construction, and newborn's parents have to take care of the baby day and night with 5 minutes of sleep per day. Mummy is closing her eyes. Time for crying round 5 at 1 a.m. Why did I wear that sundress for Valentine's? Stress system. Your body still thinks it's living in the Stone Age. Every time your micromanaging boss's message pop up, got a minute, your brain assumes there's a saber-toothed tiger behind that message. That's because your stress system, the same one that once kept your ancestors alive in the wild, hasn't had a software update in about 200,000 years. It all starts with a tiny part of your brain called the amygdala, basically the panic button. It detects danger, real or imagined, and instantly calls the hypothalamus, the brain's middle manager. The hypothalamus then pages the adrenal glands sitting on top of your kidneys. Full alert, we're dying! The adrenals respond by dumping adrenaline and cortisol into your bloodstream. Heart rate spikes, pupils widen, digestion shuts down, and blood flow reroutes to your muscles. You're ready to run, punch, or climb a tree. That was perfect when the threat was a bear trying to make you lunch. Hey, honey, want to go for some honey? I don't bite. Unless you're into that. You needed that energy burst to survive. But now the bear is just a deadline or an argument. And your brain doesn't know the difference. It fires the same full-scale fight or flight alarm even if the only thing attacking you is Microsoft Teams. Back in prehistoric times, stress was short and sweet. Fight, flee, or die. Once the danger passed, the system shut down, cortisol dropped, heart rate slowed, and your body went back to normal. Today, though, you don't escape the threat. You live in it. Your body stays in battle mode for hours, days, sometimes years. That constant flood of cortisol messes with everything. It raises blood pressure, weakens the immune system, slows down healing, and even eats away at your hippocampus, the part of your brain that handles memory and learning. Basically, you get dumber the more you stress. And the worst part, this system is supposed to shut off through physical action. Running, climbing, doing something to burn the energy off. Ancient humans escaped predators by sprinting or fighting. But now, you escape stress by sitting motionless at a desk, doom scrolling, trying to forget what happened, and wondering why your back hurts. The adrenaline that's supposed to power a sprint instead marinates your organs. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching.